Welcome to the Childcare Business Coach podcast. I'm having a little bit of problems here. Sorry about this. Well, let's hope this works. There we go. We're live. This is what the beauty of recording these live. Thank you for taking the time. I actually have a confession for you guys today. I am an ADHD leader. I actually have severe ADHD. I have 3 types. Did you even know that there were types? When I first started getting help for my ADHD, first of all, I didn't know I have ADHD. I know I have a neurological disease that is not ADHD, but I didn't know. And so as I started getting help, it was discovered that I have 3 types, and I didn't even know there was one. And so now at this point in my life, as I'm trying to really help myself discover how to be a better leader and also how to make my life easier, I've learned a few things about me. And one of them is it must be hard sometimes being led by me because my ADHD is so severe. Last night at dinner, I do a Bible study and dinner with my children every Sunday evening. And one of my kids were sitting there in the middle of this intense conversation. And suddenly my youngest son said, "Mom, where's the penguin's Christmas decoration?" And I was like, "What? I haven't taken decorations out yet. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Mom, this Christmas and this," and suddenly he's like, his brain is off on a tangent. And I realized, oh my gosh, is that what it's like being around me, having a conversation? Because there's just flying thoughts all over the place, right? So how can we make it easier on ourselves and our staff as leaders with ADHD? If you're new to me, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the Childcare Business Coach and the owner of Childcare Business Professionals, which helps leaders learn how to manage and stay sane through owning a childcare business. And this is one of the areas that I need to stay sane in. And I'm going to be completely transparent and honest. One of the things I really try and commit to for you guys, I never want to be that person who pretends like I have it all together and I have all the answers when I don't. I don't ever want to pretend to be that person. And so I'm going to show you my ugly. I will. And today's episode of the podcast is going to be a little bit of my ugly. I will be completely honest with you guys. A lot of times what I'm working through, and as I'm finding solutions to my own problems, I bring them to you. Well, this is a problem that I've had for years, that I have a really good concrete solution for. And as I was talking to some owners last week and helping them with some issues, I realized, oh, what you need is an annual calendar. It's what I do. It's one of my biggest things that I do that has helped me get this part of my unorganized ADHD brain in line. I know, bottom line, I need due dates for everything. I own a few businesses, right? And this one that's bringing you the podcast, I have a podcast. I do a lot of independent work. And that can be very, very much a struggle if I am not focused. It can be a huge struggle if I'm really not focused on what I'm doing, right? So as an ADHD leader, I have to have different things in line, like due dates. I have to have structure. There's quite a few things that I have to understand and know in order for me to stay on task. And that is what I want to really talk to you about today. Some of the tools and traits that we need. And even if you're not an ADHD leader, I want you to think about, is there a time where you just feel like you're just constantly chasing your staff and things are not getting done? You look at your classrooms and Christmas is coming, right? Or Thanksgiving. We had our Thanksgiving feast last week. How many of you go to things like your Thanksgiving feast and it is such a nightmare because it's so stressful? I'll tell you, mine wasn't. We had well over 100 families come through my building last week. And it was actually very, very easy, clean, and streamlined. But there's a reason for that. I have a process that I've developed over the years. And I have due dates on the littlest things. Even when do I buy my groceries? There's a due date for everything. It's part of how I keep myself in line, and it's how I keep my staff in line. My big one of my big mantras is I don't want to be that person who is reactive to everything and constantly putting out fires, right? I want to be proactive and stop fires from happening. So many of the stressors that you have at your centers are not necessary. I want you to really hear that. So many of the stressors you have at your childcare programs are not necessary. You are allowing them, you're enabling them. And a lot of times, as leaders, the buck stops here. You are creating them. And I was that leader once. I walked through my center door one day and thought, I'm firing all of them. They all suck. And there's some series of events, some things happened that really revealed to me that it wasn't them, it was me. It was my leadership that was lacking, not my staff. So I'm not going to make this a long episode. It's actually going to be super short because basically this is more of a training. I cannot tell you on a podcast episode how to fix this problem. So I do have a training coming up on December 9th and 10th. And if you're listening to the podcast, this is 2024. I do this training, by the way, every year. So it doesn't matter what year you're listening to this, every single December, I do the same training. And I also have it recorded for those of you who miss it. But it basically helps you learn how to create an annual classroom calendar, right? Not just the classroom, it's your entire childcare center, everything that gives you processes and procedures for every single thing you do in your program with a due date, so that you never have to chase things like licensing. Right? How many of you panicked? Oh, licensing is coming. I have to audit this. I have to do that. What if it was always just done, which is how it should be? These things shouldn't be extra work for you because they should be constantly kept up with throughout the year, right? Things like, what are your Christmas gifts? That should have already been turned into you. What are your teachers giving their parents for Christmas gifts? That should be turned in a month in advance, so that you can do the shopping, so that you can do all the things that need to be done. And that gives you plenty of time to have a stress-free holiday. I love Christmas. I love Christmas. This is part of the reason I created the system for myself. Was I don't want it to be stressful. I see people stressed out about Christmas. It's hectic. It's this and that. But why? It doesn't have to be. If your Christmas season is hectic, that is a choice. You're choosing. I know that's hard to hear. But if you have the right systems in place, it doesn't have to be hectic. It can be calm and fun, but you have to plan ahead. So during our annual planning training, we literally create the plan for the whole year. I can tell you by the end of probably in 2 weeks, exactly when everything is going to happen at my center next year. I'll be able to tell you in 2025 when my teachers have to turn into me their plans for their Christmas plays. It's all dialed in. And this basically took me years to create, but it works like nothing I've ever seen. The other thing too is, first of all, I need to know, where are you going? And many of you are just kind of going through life and you have no idea where you're going. You just kind of let it happen. So in this training, I also help you create a destination. Where are we going? Right? I know a lot of owners, you started your business and you think to yourself like, okay, I'm just going to become a business owner. But why? What is the end result? What are you trying to create? Are you trying to create extra income? Are you trying to create freedom? Are you trying to create a better place for children? What is the reason that you exist? All those things are super, super important. So if you don't know the answer to those questions, I really want you to take this training, September 9th and 10th, and I will put the details in the comments. It's a training on how to help you create your why. We're going to create your why. This is the destination, right? So many of you are just driving aimlessly. Imagine deciding, I'm going to take a trip and getting in the car and just driving. You haven't created a budget. You have no map. You didn't pack, nothing. You're just going. That's what so many business owners do. You have no direction. We are going to fix that. We are going to fix the direction for you in which you're going to go so that you have a solid roadmap of where you are going. That is vitally important. And we're also going to help you create the timeline to get there. So you don't want to miss out on this training. It's super, super important. Again, this isn't a topic that I can really teach you on a podcast episode, but I can really help you through this in a training series. So September 9th and 10th, we will put in the comments the link for you to sign up so you can be there. This is not a training you want to miss. Everybody, and again, if you're listening to the podcast in the future, I do this every December, and we also have it recorded. So for my members, you can find all of my past trainings on this in the membership site. We do this every single year. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. It is that time of year, and just, every day in life should come from a place of Thanksgiving. But it's awesome that we have a holiday to remind us that there is so much, no matter what life is throwing at you, there's so much to be thankful for. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.